All right, let's see what's going on. Good morning, everyone. Hopefully that's enough volume for everyone. All right. Cool. And let us check our chats. All right. I think that's everyone. Do, do, do. Do, do. Hmm. Oh, cool. Looks good. Hello, everyone. And now I can see. So welcome to office hours. Hi, my name is Peter Swim, and welcome to Toilville Office Hours. Office hours is something I've done at my jobs for a long time, and whether I was at Microsoft or Walmart or and Howdy Botket, and it's really a thing for me to just kind of like go through best practices, talk about state of the industry, and answer questions. So I do have the ability to take live questions. So there's a link. I've put it in all the chats. Let's see if it works for LinkedIn too. And I'd love for you to jump on the call if you're watching, and you can kind of jump in and see what is shaking uh, in the world of conversational AI. So this could be ask a question or ask my opinion, or we can look at a project together. Anything's up for grabs. So um, but in the meantime, I am just going to sit here and work. If you watch Twitch or any of those other things, I think they're kind of like a good opportunity to kind of like get into the nitty gritty of building things. I am very happy today personally because I finally got my personal copy of Copilot Studio working. Um, it was such it was very painful, to be honest. It's very hard to like just drop your credit card and um, provide provide like a credit card and sign up for a service at Microsoft. And it is what it is. They got to be secure and they got to be compliant. But you know, uh, coming from the startup world, it may be very surprising how hard it is to just sign up for a test account. So maybe we can kind of like take a look, um, and I can log in and we can see what's new. I've been working on a project for a client that's just wrapping up. So, Toilville, what we do for clients is we have a range of features. Like the top end is just the thought leadership of here's what we're building and why we're building it, and and how we're going to get stuff to happen in our organization. And then the next phase of it is actually building it. So specs and designs and technology selections and solutions and stuff like that. And finally, there is the evaluation and the improvement. So we can come at any point of that process and either design your project for success from day one, or save a project that's maybe floundering, needs a lot of help to get back on track. Um, and so there's a range of options that we can do to help you and find out like what your goals are and what your investments are to date, and then finally like what is left to get something that is valuable to your organization. So let me just log into my Copilot Studio and we'll just kind of like play around with things. Of course, I have my two-factor to agree to. And I will stop if there's any questions or anything, but I think this will be kind of useful to talk about. Um, One of the funny things about my time at Copilot Studio is it's a tool that serves many masters, and it's kind of like sitting on the edge of this construct called the Power Platform. And so there's like a lot of interesting things that you have and can use to kind of like uh, develop on it. So I am going to share my screen. And cool. Oh, this is neat. Let's see. Fun. Cool. So let's take a look at Copilot. See, ooh, it is squished. Let's see if we can make this a little more readable. They've improved the responsiveness, but you know it's hard to get everything right the first try. So we set up the multiple environments. This is the demo default environment. You typically only want to build like sandbox stuff here because it's not going to be very deployable or testable, in my opinion. So I have a prod environment. You may have many kind of staging and test environments depending on your organization. I also have a preview environment. You can turn on uh, features as they light up. I can reveal my time in Copilot Studio. The way the global deployment works is they'll deploy region to region, and there is a preview build that is kind of like the first stage before it goes to that. By turning on preview in there, you can try features about 4 to 5 weeks before it gets to the rest of the world. Um, be warning, it's like you don't want to do anything production here because they'll ship stuff and then they'll have to pull it back and all that. But it is a good idea to see what is coming down the pipe and deploy a copy of your bot there to see if things are changing in ways that you hadn't planned for. All right. Can I hide the chat? I'm... Okay. That chat is annoying. How can I move that? Okay, cool. Fun. I'm just going to look at this real quick. Still got to find the right keyword. Show. Okay. Well, that's fun. So if I hide that in screen. Super annoying. All right. There's got to be a thing that I'm missing. A little better. Oh, that's cool. That's the glory of doing things in real time. You can fail fast. And get wonderful. Cool. I'll just keep that alert box going. That seems like it could be useful. All right, so let us go back to work. Ooh, new analytics, maybe? They've been teasing analytics for a long time. But basically, the process to create a bot has remained the same. We're going to create website agent to answer questions about Toilville, a consultancy for conversational AI automation. And my pitch is changing all the time. Everyone's all like, well, it's not AI. But it's the thing about when you add stuff to workplace automation, it's all rules. And either the rules happen deterministically or procedurally or probabilistically. And I think most people prefer probabilistically, but you don't have to tell them the steps. And so there's a lot of like compulsion, especially in the sales field, to say it learns or it doesn't learn. It doesn't learn anything. It's pattern matching versus stuff it's already seen. So as we show, a Copilot Studio is really geared and set up for success in the way that you can do this probabilistic definition of the playfield. We're going to call it Paladin, and then so you can have things that handle like the messy stuff, like the interruptions and the questions. Paladin is friendly, stoic. They gender the spokes being. All right. And just go to just a little peek. We're going to have this pull information from Toilville, our website, and we are going to be a front end for Paladin. Paladin is our little spokes being. So let's go back to the creation experience. Let's see if that works. I have a challenge for everyone who's watching, by the way. I will break your conversational AI for free within 2 minutes. So just send me a link, and if you want to put it on the office hours, feel free to do it. Real tip of my cap to my colleagues who worked really hard on this experience. You think it's very simple, but it's actually super complex to get it to stay on rails and do what you need to do. All right, let's just create. It's very hard to do these kind of things conversationally when you could just like pick a box, select the option, put in a name. I'm doing this in my default environment because I don't really intend to launch this, but it's a good, I can export the solution and put it into like my prod environment later if I want to do that. So, okay, we have Paladin. I'm going to allow it to use its own general knowledge, even though that might be a problem later, and we'll find out more about that. If you go into the preview environment, they're also adding the ability to use web knowledge. So that's going to be interesting. And we're going to use generative AI. So generative AI, the way Copilot Studio used to work, and chatbots have worked probably for the past 10 years, is intent-based thing. So you would have a list of abilities or topics, and then you'd write like the way they would potentially ask for it. But now with generative AI, when you go to these topics, so goodbye, instead of like saying, you just kind of describe it. So like you can go in, there's actually multiple different triggers now in the system. So you can have this be like activities or events. These are things like user comes to a place on your web page and we can fire an event and the chatbot can start. You can do things like being added to a chat, like on Teams and all that. And we're going to just stick with this triggered by agent. All right, so we have a bot and we can test it. I don't like that message. So the cool thing about the testing tool, and we can turn this off real quick. You can double click on the message and you go to the message, right? So you can just say, I don't need any of that. Hi, I'm Paladin. What can we do for you today? It's not a question yet. And I'll show you why I do that. Because I am going to create a topic. and I don't have it yet, so I need to create it. So let me go to my topics. I'm going to add a topic from a description. Call this main menu. Provide a menu of actions that Paladin can help with. The primary ones will be contact us, services, and office hours. So we're just going to let that fire away for a second. And so it's going to use, this is a kind of cool feature that I think is a good way to like, I don't use LLMs often to like write content whole cloth. What I like to do is just use it to kind of do my outlines. Oh, it didn't do the quick replies. Annoying, but okay. So now we have our topic. We're going to save it. And I'm going to go back to my system greeting. So this is like every time the person starts the bot, it's going to say this message. And you may not want to say it every time. So I put my welcome greeting there, and then we'll go to the menu. All right, so it'll say the greeting, and then it'll go to our new greeting. And so we already asked questions twice, so I'm just going to have a menu. We're just going to add quick replies. And we want this to be hidden. We don't want to say in the chat. Well, we'll leave it in the chat so we can see what's going on. So about Toilville. And you can have the title be different than the text. I think it's fine that they're the same. What are the? Oh, and then we could do images and stuff like that. We won't worry about that for now. We're going to do another one. And this is going to be the services offered. And finally, about office. Option or ask us a question. And of course, this is just placeholder text, and we will reload our chat. And this is basically how you step out your bot, and then it does a thing, and then it will do a thing. So now we're going to need topics for those three things. But say we don't want to do topics, right? Say we want to upload a document. So I'm going to go here. We're going to add knowledge. The easiest thing we could do is add our website. So www.itstoilville.com. And the homepage of the consultancy. Fake it till you make it, right? And yep, that is my website. This is going to be very important, I think, because the suppositions that you can just use websites in your bot indefinitely, but I think people are going to be very protective against their IP being used in random chat experiences. And there'll probably be well, there already is. You can just go to HE access and block the robot text for Bing search and all that. But there's probably going to be more and more protective measures made to protect content. So you want to make sure you own this content. We can go to that website, but we're going to add it. All right. And I'm also going to I'm working on a draft of kind of our processes of how we do digital transformation of conversational AI. So, and we call this spell work. And so we have this and spell work, if I spell right, is a framework to design agents. All right, so I'm going to take a moment and see if there's any questions in our chat. That's a good question. FNU Sheriful. What are the maximum amount of nodes we can have in a chat? There's actually in the docs. In the quota section, I think there's a number about that. I think there's more practical limit than I want to say it's something like in the hundreds, but that would be here in the quotas somewhere. I can't find it on the June. I will say that like Copilot Studio is not designed to be like your entire node thing in one topic. And so you will want to like kind of break things up into modules because it's going to be super, super slow in the editor to load. And you'll see like a lot of performance issues and stuff like that. I do know like some corporate partners have topics that have like hundreds approaching 1,000 level of nodes in the bot. And I think that is insane because also we have like power effects and things like that. And so you may be able to like if you have a very complex tree that you're trying to do, you might be able to just do it in one node of power effects. I did this in this bot that I'm working on now. I'll kind of show you. This is like the craziest topic I've ever built in a bot. It is, and the all right. Yeah, so we go through these topics, and then there's a condition, and so you can change that to a formula, and then you could put your complex logic in a power effects. So this might be like a better way to do things. Take a look at it. That way you don't have to kind of go down that huge rabbit hole of having like a huge if else condition visibly displayed in the topic. The other cool thing that they've added recently, if I can find out, there's a setting. Let's see, maybe it's here. Or it's an agent details. But basically, if you go into like a topic, there's a setting to make it like perform using more efficient logic. So if your pages are loading super slow, let's try here. Where's the toggle? Maybe it's in here. Nope. They kind of redid the UI and things are different, but I wouldn't say better. Details maybe. Oh well, there is a setting somewhere that's like used. Oh, it might be in this stuff. Author and Canvas. There we go. Optimize Canvas. And so like you can say like, oh, it's really slow because I have 300 nodes. So I'm going to kick in this optimize thing. I just leave it on the default. It does feel like it runs a bit better with this on than versus it off, but it's there for you. So let's kind of go back to PAL. And that's a great question. Thanks for that, Sheriful. And thanks for proving that LinkedIn works. I love it. All right, so we have our topic, and it's Paladin. What can we do for you today? Um, and we can kind of go through here. And our wonderful, awesome designers made a bunch of cool little logos for us. So we're going to put in our little guy. And there's Paladin. So and this is fun because when you publish, I don't know if I have this set up in this environment yet, so this may fail. Literally got this going last night, so I'll just wait for a second. But when you go into the channel, it's publishing. There's a demo website they gave you. Oh yeah, this is now off by default. This is a DLP thing. So let's go. First, we'll fix that. So we'll go security and web channel security. It's over here. We're going to turn off, and this could be public available, and then we're going to have to republish. So give it a second while we do that. And I'm going to publish again. My pleasure, Sherifful. And yeah, keep them coming. There's a lot of stuff that's like practice based around Copilot Studio that's not documented super well. So that's why I find that the best things for these office hours is people just kind of like figure out how stuff works and all that. So now we published. We're gonna have a little nag here for the rest of all time that we don't have authentication. You can fix that later if you want to have it go to a website that is like trusted or whatever, but it's off by default for good reason. We don't want to publish the spot and not be aware of the implications of doing so. So now we have a demo website, so I can share this in the chat and people can play with it. It's a good question. I will talk about multi-agent in a second, but let's just finish our thought here. So now we have a bot and it says hello. And here's our buttons, which don't go anywhere yet, but I can say like, who is Toilville? And it's the only information it has is our website. And so we'll see if it answers from the website. Hooray. That's us, and it goes to our website. And look, they can sign up for our mailing list, so it's pretty good for SEO. I've been sharing on the wrong screen. Okay. So we've done that. Let me show that again so you guys can actually see it. Demo website. We'll go there. All right. So we have our little demo website here, and it has our little message that we came up with. Here's our little guy. And you have quick replies, and you can style all this on your own website. There's all kinds of stuff there. And I can say types of services does Toilville offer? This is gonna be a complex one because it's gonna have to like read our website and maybe interpret things. So this could be kind of random, its answer. Oh boy, yay. I find this is a very decent summary. You could probably optimize this. You probably want to build in a bot to have it a little more deterministic so it's pitching on anything. But yeah, that's our bot. So a question from the chat is, how do we do multi-agent? So when you say multi-agent, and there's so many different interpretations of this. But to me, agents, you're talking about, we have all these projects and they can arbitrate between them, right? And so right now, there is no good way to arbitrate this experience to this experience to this experience, right? But we do have the ability to go and syndicate the abilities you create in those experiences, right? So you can you can create an agent or the things that make up an agent and advertise that in your network, and then people subscribe to them basically and make those available in their process. So the distinction between what you're probably thinking and what this is there's an agent experience that is the channel, right? So the channel is, I'm talking to something on Teams, or I'm on a website, or I call someone on the phone, and that experience is owned in a singular experience. uh, what it does though is advertise all these things, and you can make a component collection. You can syndicate all these stuff in the library, and then you can create flows. And so these flows are basically like, the billing department and the sales department and HR and whatever. And so these flows are the actions and the work that they do, and the agents control the persona and the experience as that happens. Um, and that's kind of like how you would expand horizontally an organization where, wow, people really like Paladin, but that is like a very like design process and experience. And if you just want to like add more knowledge to Paladin, then you would just kind of go in here and you would tell your teams that are doing things to create an action or a knowledge source, and then Paladin would subscribe to those, right? And so you would have one agent, but it would get more things through these actions or activities. And then you use analytics to track which of those sub channels are doing well, and build on them. So, and we're right weeks away from build, and I suspect they're going to announce something new because if you look on the blog, this company called Anthropic, they make a product called Claude, and Claude is pretty much a competitor. They're ex OpenAI people, and they've made the standard called MCP. MCP is called Model Context Protocol, and it is more like the multi-agent concept that we're talking about here, right? So you would be able to advertise these things outside of the Microsoft ecosystem. And when I was talking about those things earlier in Copilot Studio, these are all like, for the most part, Microsoft products, right? You're using SharePoint, or you're using connectors, which are part of Microsoft. MCPs are more like REST APIs in a way, that so you can subscribe to these things and delegate and reach out for authority on data sources, and also like arbitrate who handles what and whatever. So this is in preview now. I suspect that build, this will become more of a thing. And when that happens, MCP really opens the door on the whole world for these things, because you're able to not be locked into Microsoft, for one. You can use different models. You can have different agents. You can work with different members of your organization or vendors or customers, and make those available to our bot. So like, and the way it works is using the connector ecosystem. So like, so Paladin here would have an action, right? And then we would use a custom connector to these MCPs, and it'll show up here. And so like everything that you have here, and it would also be available here, you can add it. All this kind of stuff. So there would be MCPs here. So for example, you can have a ServiceNow MCP, or Zendesk, or your core product thing. And so this will be how it kind of like have multi-agent, so Paladin controls the things like I'm connected to Teams, or I'm connected to the phone, and then MCP is the arbitration of the work that's done. And so it's a little fuzzy, this picture, and I think they're kind of still figuring it out. But I think MCPs are super powerful to the story, because one, MCP doesn't have to be OpenAI or Claude or Anthropic. It could be your server, or it could be on your phone, or on your device, as long as it's publicly available on the internet. And the other thing is, you will be kind of like unlocked of the pace of Microsoft to kind of build these things and be able to kind of like build your own thing using the compliance and the safety and stuff of Copilot Studio. So that's super handy and interesting to me. So now we're kind of talking about, okay, so it can answer my questions about what kind of services, right? But if I click the services button, let's see if it can find it through the general answers. Searching all the sources. Cool. Same thing happens. And so now I have a bot that kind of like give people, I want to fix that typo, that question. So it's pretty good. So I kind of have a bot now, right? Like if I have a website, I have a bot. Let's see if all three of my questions are met. Pretty good. That address needs, that's old. Info is old. We'll fix that. Nice. And of course, like these are all like, this is just like a topic in the bot. So you can change the citations and stuff using that same power effects I was talking about earlier. But that's pretty cool. My bot like kind of can do stuff in about 10 minutes. So who is Pierce? So let's kind of go through. There's premium features, right? Why is that disabled? That one. We got generative. Okay, so if I was in a 365 Copilot tenant, I can improve search results. This is so like if I have SharePoint set up and I can use the graph to like search those documents I uploaded. Also share uploads. I want to be very precise. And this is also kind of interesting. So in the scripting, if you use reason, we can do something like this. What do I call this topic? Get a quote. Collect information needed to start. And let's see what this does. And we're kind of just go flow. I'm not entirely sure how I want to do it, so I'm going to like, all right, name and email, phone number, what city, cool. But I don't want to do these boring questions, right? I want to do something a little more exciting. So let's get rid of this. Sorry, this message is now broken, so I'll just delete that to get rid of the error. You can use inputs. services is topic. Dynamically ask them about their project. Right? And that's good. And so we need variables. So the variable on it is full name. Yes, and we're gonna use these inbuilt things to like save us a lot of time and trouble. Person's name, the primary contact name. And we don't stop there because now we need email address, email. And there's an email. And you can even define like how the prompt is. And we have it be dynamic, or it could be a card. Looks like cards coming soon. So I'm going to discard that. You can even have it. You can have it fall back into what it's going to be or something. So, and you can have it be conditional based on something. So if the person's logged in, we don't need to ask this, right? So let's move on. And you can set the variable to value. And we need an address. Well, let's say phone number. And all right, I'm going to save that. All right, so now we have our messages, right? So we can have a bullet list of name, email, phone number. Love live coding. And here's the variables we came up with: full name, email, and phone number, right? So now we have a topic. Let's see if this works. I would like to get a quote for services. Ah, yes. Look, I didn't make the question. And Peter L. Swim. And this is my email. And of course, everyone here on the call now knows it. So fun. So I have it. Variables are populated. I can make it dynamic. I can store this. I can throw this in an API. I can connect to an action. And I have a bot. That is kind of like the whole world. And that's kind of like the power of doing these things. So, I can now go into here and I have those variables and I can just make like an action. And the action can be using connectors or plugin actions. And say I just wanted to send an email, and I'll find a good email provider. I really like, there's this really simple one for SMTP, send mail v3. And so this allows me to go into there and I'll just add all my connection info, have it SSL, and I can have it send me an email. So now my bot is hooked up to my sales funnel. We are at time. So I'm going to see if there's any other questions. Performance. So if you're going to have 100,000 concurrent users, you have a right to concern about performance issues. But luckily, if you had 100,000 concurrent users and you contacted your Microsoft sales rep, they would be ecstatic to help you harden the system for that. So like Copilot Studio is a modular system and it's a SaaS environment. They have typical load and then they have peak load. So there's like huge customers that get special treatment and special environments. So I think if you have the business of 100,000 concurrent connections, you should definitely talk to a Microsoft sales rep and they will hook you up and get you into a performance system that can handle your load. The other thing is the backend API and stuff, that's all like complex as well. So you would probably want to talk to the Microsoft team and make sure that your system's performant to do that. The cool thing about MCP though, is you can have all that complexity live in your services and Copilot Studio is just handling the connection front end or whatever. So they have huge customers. They have very, very tiny customers. 100,000 users concurrently is a massively successful bot. I mean, I can't think of any public available bots that's even close to that. But if you have that problem, they'd be ecstatic to help you solve it. Do with that. Oh yeah, that is fun. And that was our question. Thank you, Sheriff, for asking such good questions today. Yeah, I think like we're kind of we haven't seen massive success of these products yet. So I think you have a very good question about like what success looks like. I think a more realistic concurrent bot session things in the thousands versus the hundreds of thousands. But if you do reach that level of complexity and success, you'll get a lot of like very smart people at Microsoft to like help you solve that problem. Thank you, Shariful. So we're going to wrap up Office Hours today. We do this most Wednesdays on LinkedIn, Twitch, so forth. If you go to our website too, if you don't like to be on those platforms, you can check things out there. And you can contact us if you have any questions about setting up services or whatnot. Let's go to the front end. Here's our office hours. You can watch us live. You can join the call. So we should be doing one next week. And then we will be back. So thanks, everyone. Here's our contact link.